like pollution and infections. Humans can adapt through biology and culture. Humans adapt through both biological and cultural means. Humans can rebuild after
You know what that means. That's how you know it's time. It's time. Time. It's the queen talking about somebody getting jumped. I don't know who getting jumped, but let's see how well this know about all that. Okay. Yashar, you guys ready? This is this is your rebuttal round.
All right. So real quick, I just want to share my screen real quick. I just want to bring up the definition from Webster. You can still hear me, correct?
Yes.
So we hear first a matriarch. A matriarch is a woman who rules or dominates a family group or state. A mother who is head and ruler of her family and descendants. There we have a matriarch. So then let's go into the definition. Same Webster. Going to patriarch. And one, we have one of the scriptural fathers of the human race, like he said. Then you have a man who was a father or founder. Okay, that's cool. The oldest member or representative of a group. That doesn't even denote a male. So I just want to get into these, a man who was the head of a patriarchy. I just want to go over those just like my opponent did to bring out that even within these definitions, since we want to play word games, we even see that one of these definitions of a patriarch does not even denote a male. To even go along a little further, I heard my opponent reference the Bible, and he far as patriarchal rulership. A patriarch is a ruler. He's a ruler. So that made me think like, okay, what does the Bible really say about this? So, and it made me want to get the curse of Eve. The curse of Eve. So we have in Genesis 3:16, we have the curse of Eve. To the woman, this is the NIV. We'll just do the NIV. We could do it. I have this is Bible Pub. I have many versions. Matter of fact, we can do the King James. I know we like that. To the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thy shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Rule. So there's a difference between you making me for a helpmate and you ruling over me. If it was not a difference, that wouldn't have been inside of the curse of Eve. We see that even within the Bible, her original and her pristine state was to be a helpmate, not to be ruled under a patriarchy. Another thing my opponent did when he shared his screen, he showed us the definition of a patriarch, and then he showed us what scholars say the definition of a patriarchy is. There's a difference between a patriarch, who's the man, and a patriarchy, which is the functionality under that rule. So when he gave us the definition by scholars, what they say about the operations under the rule of that patriarch, it definitely entailed, what was the word? Because I wrote it down. It definitely entails, oh, he said racial, gender-based inequalities. Gender-based inequalities. That's what he showed in his slide that the scholars say. Okay. Once again, he used Eve. He went back to Eve. He went back to Eve. And he keeps referencing this like this is this, like this facts. So when we even go into this Eve story, when we go into this Hebraic word for rib, we find that there's a feminine word, Selah, there. Selah. How is this feminine rib sitting inside of this masculine man? How is this happening? What is going on here? Maybe it's influence. So since this is my rebuttal, let's take our time out to get into a story that took place around the same time. It was most likely and mirrors the same story. This is I'm gonna make a long story short real quick. So we have the story of Inky in his rib and Ninhursag or Mother Ninti. Ninti, you can Google this and fact check this. Ninti means mother of life, also ruler of the rib. So to make a long story short, the god Inky, out of curiosity, eats 8 plants in the paradise of Bilmon, which is the goddess, which the goddess Ninhursag considers a mortal sin. Sound like somebody eating some stuff in the in the garden, don't it? So she causes 8 of Inky's body parts, including his rib, to suffer, and he is on the brink of death. Enlil takes a nap. Sounds like Adam going into a deep sleep. Enlil takes a nap. Inky's cause and persuade Ninhursag to relent. And so various deities then come to heal each of Inky's bodies. The one who heals his rib is the goddess Ninti, whose name means both lady of the rib and lady who makes life. So maybe that story is what influenced
One
your
minute.
story, and maybe that's why we have a feminine rib, feminine ruler of the rib, Ninti, coming out of, I guess, some masculine man. Wasn't even no women on the planet for him to even get no feminine rib. Where were you even getting this from? And then I would really like for him to explain scientifically how women come from men. Because I'm gonna show on my slide, your Y chromosome is about this big and your X chromosome is about this big. I don't know how you get this from this, but he'll have to show that. Thanks.
All right. So you yield with 22 seconds left on the clock. All right. Rebuttal. All right. Let's go. So now, everybody, with 428 people in the building, bot or not, I would love to get a general consensus. Like, who are you all feeling here? Because we just heard a lot of information going down. We heard rebuttals of everybody. This is like the whole first round in opening statement. Can I get a one for Ashe if you really were feeling his presentation, and a two for Pitbull Kalim, aka Kalim? What were you all feeling as far as, who brought out the best information, who really hit it on the head and put it out? Uh-oh. Ashe got one, y'all. And I'm seeing four of them already. That's four for Ashe. He hit it on the head, and I got one for DJ Warrior. Let me get some more votes going on in the chat. Oh man, that's four. And the anonymous is saying a zero, and Mika is throwing up the angry face. So I don't know how to take either one. Well, anonymous says zero, even though that wasn't the choice here. I would really appreciate it if y'all could put a one or a two in the chat. And no, there won't be Club Yasharal here tonight. So you don't have to worry about Club Yasharal. But what I will do is we can stay and chit chat a little about it a little bit since we did have this debate going on early. Please don't forget to go ahead and subscribe to Debate That Cause Society here on Bigo, the community page, and also on YouTube and on IG. I would really, really greatly appreciate it. I don't know what Fire's got going on, but hey, the Ring of Fire, y'all know it's always lit over there. So, with that being said, a lot of interesting comments going on, right? Oh, you missed the numbers? So, we had about 6 for Ashe, and we had about 4 for Kalium. Let me make sure I got that right here. 1, 2. Yeah, don't send any bail gifts while we're doing the voting. I would really appreciate it, so we can make sure that that we are able to count that. Um, let's get on ahead and start with this next round. Thank you, thank you. I really appreciate everybody being up and through here, but we got to make sure we can get this on and popping. So again, it is now time for participant one to continue with his second round. And again, he has 6 minutes for. I'm sorry, hold on. Ooh. Oh, my bad. It's not 6 minutes. I misspoke. 8 minutes for this round and then 6 minutes for the rebuttal. So if you guys could Yashar has pulled up the screen for Ashe. Ashe, are you ready?
Let's go. I appreciate you, Yashar.
Yes, Yashar, thank you so much for being such a wonderful scribe tonight. You are really hitting it on the head. So, whenever you start talking, I really we can get this on and popping.
So
Your eight
so
minutes will
let's
start.
let's rehash this, and please bear with me. It's going to be a lot of information. Let's once again touch back on Kahina of the Northern African Berbers. Kahina of the 7th century was a Berber warrior queen and seer who led her people against the Arab invasion of North Africa in 7th century CE. She is also known as El Kahina, Dahina Kahina, Dahlia, Daya, and Daya Al Kahina. Although she was finally defeated, her resistance later served as a model for other freedom fighters. Her birth name was Daya, or some variants, therefore, the beautiful gazelle in the Tamazight language of the Amazighin, while Kahina is an Arabic title meaning prophetess or seer or witch. She is said to have had a supernatural power which enabled her to foretell the future. Although she is a champion of the native North African Amaz- Amazigan people, she is best known by the title given to her by her Arab enemies, who of which was also the male Al Kahina. Three, we have the Dahomey women, since women just weren't hunter gatherers for some reason. The Dahomey women, or the Dahomey Amazons of the Agorji, were a fine, all female military regiment of the Kingdom of Dahomey in today's Benin, West Africa. Fine means like Benin, that existed from the 17th century into the late 19th century. They were the only female army in modern history. These women chose the king that would rule in power by a group of their female Dahomean nobles, displaying once again a matriarchal power. We have that 2 slides down. We can go down to King Hatshepsut. Here we have King Hatshepsut of Kemet from 1479 BC to 1458 BC. Hatshepsut, the elder daughter of the 18th dynasty King Thutmose I and his consort Ahmose, she wasn't a queen, she was a consort, was married to her half-brother Thutmose II, son of the lady Mutrefet. Since 3 of Mutrefet's older sons had died prematurely, Thutmose II inherited his father's throne about 1491-92 BCE, with Hatshepsut as his consort. Hatshepsut bore one daughter, Neferu, but no son. When her husband died about 1479 BCE, the throne passed to his son, Thutmose III, born to Isis, a lesser harem queen. As Thutmose III was an infant, Hatshepsut acted as regent for the young king. You know, for the first few years of her stepson's reign, Hatshepsut was an entirely conventional regent, but by the end of the 7th regional year, she had been crowned king and adopted a full royal titlery, the royal protocol adopted by Egyptian sovereigns. Hatshepsut and Thutmose III were now co-rulers of Egypt, with Hatshepsut very much the dominant king. Hitherto, Hatshepsut had been depicted as the typical queen with a female body and appropriately feminine garments. But now, after a brief period of experimentation that involved combining a female body with kingly male regalia, her formal portraits began to show Hatshepsut with a male body wearing the traditional regalia of a kilt, crown, or headcloth and false beard. To dismiss this as a serious attempt to pass her off as a man, like she was some type of bull dagger or something, is to misunderstand Egyptian artistic convention, which showed things that not as they were, but as they should be, and causing herself to be depicted as a traditional king. Hatshepsut ensured that this what she would become. This comes straight from the Britannica. Next, I want to just introduce the role of the secret society to us all. Organized patriarchal religions and secret societies like the Freemasons, Knights of Templars, and the Skull and Bone Society, which only male members have played a significant role, which only allow male members have played a
Wait,
significant role in.
time out. I gotta find that
It should
slide.
be
I don't know what slide that is.
right above.
Right above. Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me get there. Okay. Okay, I got you.
Organized patriarchal society and religions were like the Freemasons, Knights of Templar, and the Skull and Bone societies, which only allow male members, have played a significant role in deliberately obscuring original and matriarchal traditions. Female spiritual and political leaders, along with their knowledge systems, were persecuted, and their wisdoms was either lost or hidden. Two slides down. Let's get into the story of Khalid ibn al-Walid, aka the Sword of Allah. When the messenger of Allah conquered Makkah, he sent Khalid bin al-Walid to the area of Nakla, where the idol of Al-Uzza was erected on the 3 trees of a forest. Khalid cut the 3 trees and approached the house, built around it, and destroyed it. When he went back to the prophet, who was Muhammad, and informed him of the story, the prophet said to him, I quote, "Go back and finish your mission, for you have not finished it." Khalid went back, and when the custodians, who were also its servants of Al Uzza, saw him, they started invoking by calling Al Uzza. When Khalid approached it, he found a naked woman whose hair was untidy, who was throwing sand on her head. Khalid killed her with the sword and went back to the messenger of Allah and said to him, "That was Al Uzza." My source is the Tafsir, which is a version of the Quran. You can get into that in the English publication. Once again, we see this is not a fairy tale. This is not a story of myth. A melanated woman was literally smitten in the name of a doctrine, of this patriarchal doctrine. So next, let's go down to the Manat and what was she smitten for and what was going on, because we seen this woman worshipped as a god and killed for it. The Manat, which is the female trinity, pre-Islamic, before you even had a prophet. He comes and he's killing this woman because she was worshipped years before you even got your message. A lot, we have the North Arabian goddess of pre-Islamic times, to whom a stone cube at Taif near Mecca was held sacred as part of her cult. Cult as in culture, not some dangerous individuals moving around like we come into in Western society. Two other North Arabian goddesses, Manat, the goddess of faith, and Al Uzza, who displayed strength, were associated with Allah in the Quran in Islamic sacred scriptures. The Prophet Muhammad once recognized these 3 as goddesses, but a new revelation led him to abrogate the approving verses he had earlier recited, banned it in his attempt to placate Meccan pagans. Members of this tribe circumambulated the Kaaba in Mecca, now a shrine. In chants of the praises of Allah, Al Uzza, and Manat. Each of the 3 had main sanctuaries near Mecca that were sites of pious visits and offerings until Muhammad ordered them destroyed. The goddesses were also worshipped by various Arab tribes located as far as Palmyra in Syria. Source Britannica. Topic will be Alat in the top. When we have King James and Mary of the Scots. In short, King James approved of his mother's death. I won't have enough time to get into that, but he approved of his mother's death. You can get into that. That's how he assumed his kingship, by getting rid of his mother, driving her crazy, allowing her to be locked down in the bottoms of castles, drove her insane. And then when they released, they played her like she was some type of witch, played her like she was crazy. And then what you see here.
That's time. That was a lot of information. I hope he is able to absorb all of this. So it's a lot of information. Oh man, don't. Why are you doing that, Khalil? Why? Why are you throwing up the angry emoji?
Because you just said King James authorized the killing of his mother, and I would like for him to validate that.
No, we're not doing that. That's not when we can do that. We're not going to do that here at all. You should talk about that during your time, but fact checking is not allowed during the actual round. That's only allowed in the question and answer round. So if you want to go through your question and answer round, or if you would like to go into your rebuttal, then you're free to do so. Right? That's what you got the opportunity and space to do. Move some furniture around this because oh Lord, child, y'all bringing out all this good, wonderful information. I'm glad everybody could be here tonight. right? You got 6 minutes on your rebuttal. And I think the people are ready to hear it. I'm gonna need for y'all to really, really bring this information out, right? Really bring this information out and hit it. Just get it. Just let's go. Let's go. Cause we already into the second round. Kaliam, this is your rebuttal. So let's hear what you got. Whenever you start talking, bringing up your screen, I'll give you a second to get yourselves together since you guys are doing screen share mode with the assistance of you all's readers or screen shares. Whenever you bring up your page and start talking, you I'll start your clock. Yeah. I'm sorry. This is the rebuttal round. My fault. You got 6 minutes. 6 minutes on your rebuttal.
Okay.
Fire. I'm
So
sorry. Hold on 1 second. 1 minute. Fire, you ready to come up? Let me see. Hold on, because Fire did drop down. All right. Y'all ready?
yes.
All right. Whenever you
So
start talking, we can go.
I want to respond to a few things that he said when regarding the understanding that women were naturally rulers. I'm going to show you in this next round that they were given these positions by men over and over and over and over again. That's the part that he does not want to admit. That's the part that he will not acknowledge because he can't go in history and nowhere, time, and place and show me where these women that he's speaking of took these positions without the help of a man. He just proved in his last round that these women that was ruling with men. They wasn't ruling by themselves. They wasn't ruling on their own. They were still seeking counsel with the men in a way that gave the power back to the man every time, because most of the time these men had the final say so. It's the bottom line. So we're going to show in this next round also that during the antediluvian period, where these things that he just spoke on allegedly took place throughout history, we're going to show that the scholars are saying that that's not true. That there's why is it only one female ruler on the king's list in that region ever? It's only one. So if all these queens were high esteemed without men, how did they not make it to the top? How did they not get put on this list? Huh? I want to know. So if he's going to say that these queens were taking these positions for themselves over the men, he's going to have to support that with information. He's not supporting that with information. He's saying that these women did not go through the systems of patriarchy and was allotted and given these positions by men. I'm going to show that in my next round. And we get into the emergence of patriarchy, which is normal. You're going to see that they had to do certain things to get to these positions of rulership. Everybody know that. He said and stated these things himself. Slide. There you go. Bro, go to slide, go to 10.
Women were created for men.
Yeah.
It says, women were created for men. Genesis 2:18, King James Bible. And the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helpmate for him. According to
Good,
current
stop right there.
scientific,
You good right there. Now, when I made that statement in the first round, that's what I meant. The scriptural information supported. Now we can clearly see all of the information that he just brought out still leads back to the woman taking the position of power from the man. It was given to them. Position of power. You're not going to show me where these women built these societies on their own by themselves without these men. Nowhere. You can't show it. And that's what he got to do, because that's the debate topic. This derived naturally through these different periods in time in which what men and women had to understand their social status, their social classes. So we're not going to sit here and act like the information that he's bringing out is set in stone, because it ain't, in the sense that these women didn't take power from men. Of course, we can see the statues. If you're a queen, you should have a statue. But the point is, how did they get to that position of power and hold it? Through the allowance of men. Men allowed it. He can't deny that fact. He cannot deny that fact. And that's going to hurt his argument with everything that he just said. So I don't know where he's coming from with this idea that the women in which he's speaking on, we're going to speak on these same women. We're going to speak on these same women. And I'm going to show you that they got their power from men. I'm done.
1 minute.
read, bro.
I'm good.
All right. You know, I can't stand it when y'all relinquish y'all time, because y'all could just really go in. It irks me. You know, I'm just gonna be honest with you with all the debates. Every
I
time somebody
understand.
relinquish their time, it just be like, why keep going? Do not stop. Eat a lot. Eat it all up. Eat it up.
True.
People be wanting more. They want more of what you talking about. And y'all just be cutting this short. It just makes me want to cry. But I'm going to hold my little feminine matriarchal energy over here. Whatever y'all want to call it. All right. So, oh my goodness. Ooh, child. So, Ashe, you had your second round, right? You talked all
It's
that in
it's
your
it's
second
on
round.
it's on it's on Pitbull. I just went.
I know. I'm just talking. You went into your second round, right? And he rebutted and said all that which he just said. So now it's time for Pitbull to go into his second round. I hope my judges are really alert and really there, because, man, they are really giving out a lot of information and rebuttaling this information. Let's see some nitty gritty down to the facts and what it really is, you know? So let's keep going. Kaleem, since you
Slide
just had
11, bro.
your round,
All right,
this is now your second round, 8 minutes.
ready?
And then
Go ahead.
after that, Ashe, you will start with you'll start with your rebuttal. So let's go ahead and start your second round. Whenever you start talking, I'll start the timer. 8 minutes.
We're going to use Netta Stevens again to again enforce the nature in which men and women were built, and everything that I've brought out so far to show that the derivative of understanding that the male is more dominant over the woman, not in a controlled way, but in a way that biology proves that we are to hold certain positions and roles in life throughout time. I've shown that over in the first round, where everything in time in nature has taken its course to get us to this level. Go ahead, bro.
According to scientific understanding, Nettie Stevens was the first person to discover that sex is determined by the male, specifically by identifying the role of the Y chromosome in sex determination through her research on mealworms. This finding established that the male contributes the chromosome that decides the sex of the offspring. Key points about Nettie Stevens' discovery. Research subject. She studied mealworms, observing that the male sperm carried either a large chromosome X or a small chromosome Y. Key finding. Stevens concluded that the presence of the smaller Y chromosome. Huh?
You good? I just heard an echo. Go ahead. Keep going.
Key finding. Stevens concluded that the presence of the smaller Y chromosome in sperm determined male sex. Significance. The discovery marked a major breakthrough in understanding sex determination, proving that the male is responsible for the sex of the offspring. Women came from
So
man.
stay right there. So when we get into what we've been talking about from the first round to this round, and me speaking on how woman came from man, science proves that right here. I gave it to you. So we can safely say that women came from men. Continue.
Woman came from man. Genesis 2:21. So the Lord God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep, and while he slept, he took one of the man's ribs and closed up the area with flesh. Genesis 2:22. And from the rib that the Lord God had taken from the man, he made a woman and brought her to him.
Again, biblical standings that will support my claims, improve it. We got science to go along with it. So I think, again, we can safely say that women came from men. Next slide.
Patriarchy derived naturally through human survival and mateship. Pre-antediluvian patriarchs referred to the early biblical figures who lived before the Great Flood, as described in the book of Genesis. These patriarchs are often noted for their exceptionally long lifespans and are considered the ancestors of humanity in biblical tradition. The pre-antediluvian patriarchs include 1. Adam, the first human created by God according to the Bible. 2. Seth, the third son of Adam and Eve, born after Cain and Abel. 3. Enosh, son of Seth and part of the lineage leading to Noah. 4. Kenan, son of Enosh. 5. Mahalalel, son of Kenan. 6. Jared, son of Mahalalel. 7. Enoch, son of Jared, notable for his righteousness and being taken by God without experiencing death. Okay. Methuselah, son of Enoch, known as the longest lived human in the Bible, 969 years. 9. Lamech, son of Methuselah and father of Noah. 10. Noah, the last of the pre-antediluvian patriarchs who built the ark and survived the great flood. And then it says, throughout history, several women have ruled over their societies, even within patriarchal systems. These women often had to navigate and sometimes subvert patriarchal norms to exercise power. Here are some notable ancient women rulers in the patriarchal context they faced. 1. Cleopatra, 69 through 30 BCE. Role, last active ruler of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt. Context, Cleopatra co-ruled with her brothers and son, often having to maintain her position through alliances.
Co-ruled. I want y'all to hear that. Co-ruled with her brothers. She didn't rule it by herself. Continue.
Cleopatra co-ruled with her brothers and son, often having to maintain her position through alliances with powerful men like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. Her
So
reign
stop right
was
there for a second. So if these men and women are working together in this patriarchal or matriarchal system, it would definitely show more natural because we have the men ruling pre these women ruling. And like I just said, and what we're seeing right now, these women were put in these positions of power by men, not of themselves. Continue, brother.
Her reign was a constant struggle against both internal and external patriarchal pressures. 2. Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut. 1507, 1458 BCE. Role: Pharaoh of Egypt, one of the few female pharaohs.
Few
Context:
female pharaohs.
Context: Hatshepsut assumed the role of pharaoh, a title typically reserved for men, by presenting herself as a male ruler in official statues and inscriptions. She
So
ruled
so
as
so
a
wait. So
regent.
wait. So wait. So what you're saying is these statues that were built around the time that, well, in her lifetime, that made her look like a man. If she was the damn queen, why didn't she say, take that shit down and make me look like a woman? Continue, brother.
She ruled as a regent for her stepsons, Thutmose III, before
Did
declaring
that just
herself
say
pharaoh.
fourth utmost, not for
Speak
herself?
for her.
Continue.
3. Empress Wu Zetian, 624 through 705 CE. Role: the only female emperor of China, ruling during
The
the Tang
only,
dynasty. Context:
the only.
Wu Zetian navigated a male-dominated court by using strategic marriages and alliances. She
Damn.
declared herself emperor in her own right, challenging the deeply entrenched patriarchal Confucian norms of her time. 4.
So she was out
The
here Kamala
Queen,
Harris. She's the
Queen,
ancient
Nef-
Kamala Harris. Go
Queen,
ahead, brother.
4. Queen Nefertiti, 1370 through 1330 BCE. Role:
Time.
great royal wife of Pharaoh
Time.
Ak.
Time.
I don't know if you all
Role.
heard me when I said 1 minute because both of you all started talking at the same time.
Oh no.
But I did say my 1 minute mark. All right, let's get this buttle going.
Okay, can the brother share his screen for me one time? You sure?
You sure?
What's up?
I need you to share your screen for me,
Okay, hold on.
and I need you to go down to genetics.
Genetics. Can you let me hit it? And I'm right on it. All right. There we go.
All
Just let
right.
me know when you
This
need me
is
to
your
show the
rebuttal
picture.
round.
Okay, bet. You can share. You can. Okay, you can actually show the picture right now. I'm gonna just read. So I keep hearing my opponent talk about, the woman comes from the man and all of this. Let's just look into genetics real quick. Here we have an Y chromosome, which will be on your left, and then we have an X chromosome, which will be on your right. So let's get into some characteristics of the female X chromosome. It's 5 times larger than the Y. It contains 4,000 more genes, while the Y male holds only 1,000 genes. It uses all bodily functions, as seen like in breastfeeding. And if you observe our feminine counterparts, the clitoris is like a miniature phallus. Let's get into some characteristics of our Y chromosome belongs to the male. It's 5 times smaller than the X, of course. It contains 2.8 less genetic material. It does not use all bodily functions as we see in our male breast, and the skin on the outside of the phallus is scientifically proven to be the exact same skin that is found in the vaginal walls, hinting towards that males coming from women. And another thing I heard my opponent say is he said that it determined when he said the scholar says the male determines the sex of the male child. Now, when he said that it determines the sex of the male child, that was very key to what he said, because the fact that it determines the male child is because all sperm cells before a certain phase in gestation are phenotypically feminine. They're all female. They're all feminine. This is why you have to have a gender reveal. So let's go to our next slide real quick. Mitochondrial Eve. Let's look on the right. Let's look at the sperm cell Below we have the mitochondria. So you see we have the tail, which is the propeller, of course. We have the head, which will be the nucleus. But right there, attached to the head, powering everything is your mitochondria. In human genetics, the mitochondria Eve, more genetically known as mitochondria Eve, MRC, ancestors shortened, and is the matrilineal, most recent common ancestor of all living humans. In other words, she is defined as the most recent woman from whom all living humans descended in an unbroken line purely through their mothers and through the mothers of those mothers, back until all lines converge on one woman. Mitochondria is also dubbed as the powerhouse cell, um, because they are responsible for generating adenosine triphosphate or ATP, the energy currency of a cell. All mitochondria inherited by the child is from the mother. Here we have on the right, we have mitochondria Eve, who is a woman. So I don't even know what all of this. Next slide, please. No Adam and Eve. I didn't even know Adam and Eve's story. And I'm gonna tell you exactly why. Let's get into genetics once again. In the October 29th, 1999 issue of Science, Bruce Lyon, PhD, assistant professor of human genetics at the University of Chicago and expert on the evolution of the sex chromosomes, along with his colleague David Page, MD, of the Whitehead Institute, report that the X and Y chromosomes, which arose from a pair of identical non-sex determinant chromosomes known as autosomes, diverged from each other over the course of about 300 million years by going through the 4 discrete stages rather than in a smooth transition. Now we can talk about autosomes for a second. And you can fact check everything I'm saying. We don't even have an introduction of the Y chromosome until you have mammals on the planet. You're talking about natural. So before we even had a Y chromosome, you had what we consider autosomes, or an X, a combination of an XY, majority X. So when we see over time, when the mammal is produced, we see the degeneration of that X chromosome that existed before. This resulted in this singular male organism who we calling man, or this singular individual who has this Y chromosome. And just looking at the genetic evidence that I just displayed, we see that this Y chromosome is nothing more than just a broken X. It's a degenerated X. It has lost its ancestral value. It has lost all the natural ties which made it pristine, which made it powerful. It's lost that. It has mutated into something different. It has mutated into this singular Y which we see today. And that's why you see your male with not everything function. So just things like there. I kept hearing my opponent also say that he just solely disregarded the British monarchy that even rules today, where the females, they reign as supreme. Even their husbands are not deemed as kings; they're just consorts. Like Hatshepsut started off, but like I said, after she co-ruled, she took off as the independent ruler and the dominant ruler over Thutmose III. She was the king. He was the submissive. She was the dominant of that rulership. In other rulerships after that, I don't, like I even said, the Dahomey tribe, they erect their king. They erected Gizu. The women erected Gizu. They chose him. So I don't know, man. I'm lost. What do you?
Time. Perfect. Woo, what a rebuttal we got there. So now we're going to go ahead and go off into you all's closing statements, your closing argument. Let's wrap this shit on up. And let's get it on. Let's hear what you all have to say in conclusion, right? All right, thank you so much, brother man. I don't know your name, so you're gonna be brother man up here. Thank you all so much for being wonderful scribes and pulling out the information for the debater participants tonight. I really appreciate it, and so does everyone else in the building. So let's wrap this on up. Let's see what you got. So we're gonna go with Ashe. Since he did start off, you have the floor to close out your argument. Uh,
In
so
closing, okay.
you got eight
Well,
minutes.
8 minutes to close out the argument.
Make it last. Make it last
Okay.
forever. Whenever you start talking, let's go.
Well, in closing, I just want to just touch back on like through the whole debate. I feel like I have shown numerous times where this patriarchal society usurped what was there before. When I brought out the the conquest of Khalid ibn al-Walid and the sword of Allah, we see with doctrine and religion how it's even had an effect on literal people, how people are getting hurt, people are getting killed in real life, in real time, even to this day, over these doctrine. My opponent, he keeps referencing doctrine as a tool, I guess, validate patriarchal rule over the world. But everybody doesn't even subscribe to that particular doctrine, as I touched on even in my beginning round when we displayed all of the other doctrines in their center of creation and who they felt like was their God. We only have one instance which he kept on showing. Um, he just completely disregarded Kahina of the North Americans, who was a warrior queen who led her people. I don't know what part of led he missed. When I brought out, about the Arabian invasion, this was a warrior queen. She was fighting for her people, leading these people. I don't. So it's just so much that I feel like I touched on within this debate, just to show us that this is not natural. This was not first. This was not the original. We see, and just because, and the last thing I probably want to say, heavy to what he said, just because you see a woman and a king and a man, what do you mean? When I brought out the information about headship, you shorted everybody on the information. You totally
Cap.
disregarded. He totally disregarded the fact that after the Cole ruling, she began to rule independently. He totally disregarded that. He totally disregarded the myriadic candidacies of Nubia. He never spoke about the myriadic candidacies of Nubia in their rules, which was independent reigns. I gave you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 queens who ruled independently. How did you miss that? He talking about they needed the approval from a man. Where? I'm lost. I'm lost. Then he said she was of few feminine pharaohs. Within this society, you have a queen's list and you have a king's list. But what you have to understand about that particular society in their language, you don't even have a word for I guess a queen. That would be a consort. I know the word consort kept appearing in your information because consort kept on appearing in mine. The queen's consort. Um, she starts off as a consort of Amos. So I would just, I really, need I say more? Really need I say more? A religious standpoint to put upon the world view of matriarchy and patriarchy is a large stretch. Um, I showed us across the world and across the planet. Oh, and just last thing, and I think I'm gonna just yield my rest of my time. For anybody who's wondering, like any of the sources that I didn't get to name, we have real quick. I even have a side dedicated to it. We have the Book of Goddesses and Heroines by Patricia Monahan. We have Everyday Life in Babylon and Assyria by Jorge Kananu. And we have the Syro-Babylonian tablets, will be a first-hand source when we're dealing with the stories of Inanna and Tiamat. You know, just a couple sources that I just want to everybody know my information was coming from. I don't need the time, Case. I'm sorry. I mean, you might recommend it. I want to cut this a little short.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for yielding that much time. So let us go into Kaleem, Pitbull 144. It's your turn to hold on. Let me stop that. All right. So it is now your turn to start your closing argument.
God, pick up right where we left off, bro. We stopped at slide 14 on number 4. We're gonna pick up right there. Start at number 3. Read it a little quicker. Are you there, Breon?
Oh, hold on. I got him muted because he was not muted. Hold on.
Okay.
My fault. Let me start y'all time over really quick because that was my fault. All right, you ready?
Breon, start at
You
start at 3 on
all right.
slide 14.
Empress Wu Zetian, 624 through 705 CE, role, the only female emperor of China ruling during the Tang Dynasty. Context: Wu Zetian navigated a male-dominated court by using strategic marriages and alliances. She declared herself emperor in her own right, challenging the deeply entrenched patriarchal Confucian norms of her time. Point 4. Nefertiti, 1370 through 1330 BCE. Role: great royal wife of Pharaoh Akhenaten of Egypt. Context: although not a ruler in her own right, Nefertiti held significant power and influence. She is believed to have co-ruled with Akhenaten and, after his death, possibly ruled as pharaoh under a different name. 5. Queen Boudica, circa 30 through 61 CE. Role: queen of the Iceni tribe in what is now the United Kingdom. Context: Boudica led a major uprising against the occupying Roman forces. Her leadership defied the patriarchal norms of both her own society and the Roman Empire, which viewed women as subservient. Keep going.
To the next slide.
In ancient Mesopotamia, most queens and women of high status did indeed derive their political